Welcome to TradeTheMBI.com. This is John's report is for the 9th of March, and while we're starting off auspicious, we closed below the 23% on the daily. We already knew we were going to retest this low. Bingo. We're already almost limit down for the pre-market Asian Open, and this fits our expectation. I mean, we knew that the situation in America was deteriorating quickly. As I pointed out, it was easy to get away with just not testing. They've done 1,500 tests and they have 500 positives. So that's kind of ugly because if they actually do ramp up testing, what are those numbers going to be? But the real news was New York recognizing that they're really almost at the point of losing the handle on it when the governor's talking about potentially closing schools and even mass transit. So you've reached this threshold where now fear overtakes the market, and markets go on greed and fear usually creates a bigger sell-off. A little momentary disrupt right there. Alignment, alrighty. Moving on to the ES, likewise, fills it. So bingo, and this was going all the way back from the positive extreme where the Fed was doing its huge pump with the repo action, but I don't know that you can flood. The only way they're going to handle it now, the Saudis took advantage of a great opportunity with this whole virus situation, the low demand globally to, make a statement. And they've decided that they're breaking up what little agreements they could find in OPEC when the Russians and them couldn't agree. And that has exacerbated the situation because they decide that they're going to flood the market when there's already a glut. So their idea is to wipe out the U.S. Of course, the euro's skyrocketing. Everyone's expecting negative rates out of the U.S., though the situation in Britain that isn't any better, nor is it in the EU anywhere. You're going to have negative growth in the EU, guaranteed, and the exponential growth rate of viruses in Britain is already starting to take place. Fine, it's still a small number right now, but this is that old adage of, take a penny and double it every day for a month, and you're going to have more money than, $1 million. And, it's amazing what exponential expansion does. So here's the oil, and, this is going to be a bloodbath for Midwest. I mean, so you're going to take a situation where you already have sketchy conditions, and now you're going to throw into it a worse scenario of a flood of Saudi oil coming into the market. And their idea is that they couldn't kill shale last time. They think that they can do it this time. So we'll see if they're able to successfully do that. I would expect gold is going to continue its rise. No shock there. We've been calling for that for, wow, gosh, I don't even think we can shrink the chart far enough back to go from our original buy. I mean, that was like way back here. Down at this bottom peak here below the 120, we're at 157 on GLD, and it was even before that, so no shock with that. Let's put up a 5K. All right, so this is the current setup. If I scroll back through the day, got a lot of good action. Mostly it started out negative, and we just had a few pops within that, and it was all pretty clear. I mean, we kept marking it throughout the day. I mean, at the end of the day, you had this massive rally. So here we had the no steel reset combination. So even with these X's, it's like, fine, you can look at those, but typically if you don't even have a steel coming below cyan and back above, that will be the next criteria that I'll probably eliminate on those, because you really need to have this kind of configuration where you then get a dip. But even if you had it, you're below the 23%. Until you break it, I'm not even interested. So when we started this move right over here off of a bunch of additional P3, so we had a huge improvement in shakeout. Big difference than what was taking place through here. We were almost positive. Here we finally went positive, then broke the 23, and that was when it actually became a decent buy set. And that was a huge run-up. But for me, it was a great opportunity because I'm just like, okay, let's wait for this thing to start softening. And when we do, we know what it's going to hit, because this started off with positive extremes, back down 29.05. So that was the expectation that I was already beginning with. And then as we developed additional ones, like, okay, I'll have in-between ones to go with. So when I'm shorting up here at the 29.70 range, my expectation was already going to be almost 60 some points. Well, the fact that we almost opened below that and then it just cascaded below, it was like, okay, that's just a freebie. I just kind of regret that I didn't even do more within that, but usually I don't do that much for Friday afternoon. Particularly, some people thought, oh, it might improve, price wise, but we knew what the news was going to be, so it's like you can't ignore reality. And again, this was something that was my point during the whole rise when everyone wanted to short early. I'm like, you can't necessarily short into a market where there's really no bad news. And so once bad news starts and you're at a peak level, that was what we called the top when we did, because it was pretty evident what was developing overseas, and it was on its way to the U.S. And then, of course, the crazy idea of bringing the students back. You already got infected students that were returning back to America. Duh. And here you have it. So now we're down, 137. We were just down 140 something a bit ago. I covered out here at the 20 point, just fine, because I'm going to call it a night because it's after 1 in the morning because you guys had time change. Not so in Europe. But that doesn't mean this isn't going to continue, but we may reach a limit down point before too long. So already decent volume for just the Asian Open. This is going to be incredible stuff, so stay with it. I still think it's possible that you will see some decent bounces within this. For those expectations, you would have to have dips of steel coming below silent, even if it doesn't reset, and you'd have to have your green over. And I put that on 50K chart on the Skype chat to kind of point out why I didn't see anything even remotely as a trigger once we started in the negative run. And we're going to get more and more of this kind of extreme volatility as some people try to buy, and we'll know if the Fed jumps in because we'll get some really exacerbated moves to the upside from that. But they're not going to have a choice either to buy stocks and oil, because if they don't buy oil, it's not going to help. So they've really limited their options. So the Saudis have really taken it to the markets here for really they're going for the kill. But that's what you do if you're a shark. You take advantage of these opportunities and you just brutalize. So that's the long and the short of it. Obviously, we'll be back at this for Monday. It's going to be exciting stuff. Trade well. We'll talk in later.